Gold is the money of kings, silver is the money of gentlemen. And we're not going to go any further on that saying today, because I'm not going to talk about copper or debt. I just want to make an argument for why gold is the best, but maybe silver does have a place. Well, clearly I think it does, if you can't tell by my background. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Anecdotal Economist, and there is once again no intro. So what I'd like to do is make a steelman argument for silver. And if you're not familiar, I enjoy stacking silver, but I really believe gold is superior. I mean, I really believe that. I don't even think it's close. I think gold. I think silver is what you buy when you can't afford gold. That's if I was to boil it down. But I can make some arguments for why silver makes sense. And I want to be specific here. I'm not talking about trading stocks in silver mining. Miners are a conversation for another day. I'm not talking about speculating on silver being used in batteries or in cars or whatever the next invention is, because there's always a new invention. But for every new invention, there's an invention to counter that invention. For example, copper in the 80s went insane. We were putting in aluminum in houses as wiring because copper, there was so many shortages. And if any of you remember what happened, we found ways to replace copper. For example, most piping in most houses now is made of plastic, and the price of copper came right back down. You see the same thing in oil. People talk about oil running out. It never does. And silver, in that sense, is just another commodity. No, I am here talking about monetary assets. Gold having a $50 face value, right? Being treated as money, not being treated as something that has good heat reflection properties or works good for gold teeth. No, I'm not talking about the use cases here. I'm talking about the monetary case. That is the reason I stack this stuff. That is the reason it is a store of wealth. Being useful is, of course, part of that. But what is the actual argument for why you would buy silver? And, well, I've said this before on this channel. The only real argument I have for why silver could explode in value is if it's used as money again. And look, I'm not writing that off. I think that could happen. But what I want to talk about today is something a little bit closer to home. Why would you stack silver? Why would you take silver and pile it up in tubes, much like this one here, when you could just buy gold? You could buy smaller increments in gold, because one argument people make about silver is, well, there's a 20% premium on average on this. I could buy a much smaller piece of gold for a much cheaper premium, right? You could buy a 10th ounce piece of gold, and usually it's going to be only like a 10 to 15% premium. So it's actually cheaper to buy gold as long as you can afford, a few $100s at a time. Once you get into grams, it might be a different story. The reason I want to make this argument, and let's just back up and talk about premiums for a second here. If on average gold and silver have gone up, let's say about 7% for the last 20 years, then that means at a 5% premium on a maple, I get my money back in 9 months. After 9 months, I'm free and clear, and I can sell that. Now, of course, it depends on when you buy it and all that. But on average, if I'm dollar cost averaging, as many do, 9 months, and I'm free of my premium concerns. That means with silver, we're talking just under 3 years to break even just from the premium. You just broke even. And that doesn't account for the fact that silver tends to be a little more volatile. You could actually be underwater for more like 10 years. And some people have experienced that. So why would I say silver is still a good idea? It's in fact a great idea. It depends how you measure it, right? Because if you're measuring silver against money, then yes, it's going to be about 3 years on average, and in some cases 10 years before you break even. That's a real thing. People can try to argue around that, but they can't do it. But what you can argue is that if I am not a great saver, or maybe I am a great saver, and this is just my hobby money, right? I set aside $100 a month for hobby money, and I spend 50 of it on silver. In 3 years, I break even, I get 100% of my hobby money back. I enjoy looking at these coins. I enjoy collecting them. I enjoy putting a nice fat stack down on my desk. I get enjoyment from that. Another enjoyment that I have is cars. Cars, you lose 20% when you draw them off the lot. So technically speaking, the premium is the same, but there's no cost to maintenance for a silver coin. I'm not going to get an accident with my silver coin. It can be stolen, but so can a car. This is a much, much better. You lose on average, by the way, about 10% a year on a car, especially a newer car. And then you also have all the maintenance costs. There's no maintenance here. So it's a much better investment from a hobby standpoint than a car. Now, what if you're like me and you had a couple of addictions that you wanted to get rid of and you told yourself, what if I was to allow myself to buy silver instead of whatever it was the habit that I was trying to quit? See, I get the high from buying the silver. I shouldn't call it a high, but you know what I mean, as opposed to the other thing that I was doing, and that worked for me. So now not only did I quit a bad habit, but I'm putting silver, storing money in the bank, my personal bank. This is a thing that I've actually done. This works for me. So that 20% premium is nothing because I'm coming out 100% ahead. Let's give one more example. What about lottery tickets? What if you're the kind of person who buys lottery tickets every week and instead you just took that exact same amount of money and bought silver? Statistically speaking, you would be 100% ahead. If you did the statistics, you have like a 1 in a million chance, I think it's lower than that in most cases, of making a lot of money back. And you're almost guaranteed to lose. That's how the statistics work. So you're going to be 99+% ahead buying silver, and it's more enjoyable. So instead of buying your lottery tickets, go to the bullion shop. Buy the highest premium silver that you can if that's what it takes to get you off of lottery tickets. And I understand there's people that are going to go in the comments, the Dave Ramsey types, and they're going to say, you know what, that is silly. You should just, they wouldn't say silly, they would say stupid. You're dumb, you're a fool. You should just save your money and have discipline and put it in a bank account and collect interest. But you know what? Inflation is a real thing, and most bank accounts, even today, do not yield 7%, which is what you get from these. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is it just depends how you look at it. In my mind, gold is still the king, but silver is for gentlemen. So that's just one way to give you a time horizon. How long do I have to wait before I sell my silver? Oh, I'm going to say about 3 years. Maybe silver underperforms gold sometimes and overperforms at others. So make it 5. If you know you're not going to need that money for 5 years, buy silver. If you know you're going to need a little bit sooner, say 1, 2, 3 years, buy gold. And if you have the option to dive deeper into the numbers and make a plan, buy both. I'm all about it. And with that, it's time to get into our review. Now today I've got another 10-ounce coin. I happened to pull this out when I pulled out the Robinhood, so it might be fresh in your mind. We're going to pop the capsule off this quickly and take a look. And there you go. Boom. Look how much better that looks as soon as you get that capsule off. Fantastic coin. Again, on their 10 ounces, they just don't seem to have milk spotting. I don't know what they do different, but something clearly. And I have to say, this is such a nice coin. I really like it more than the Robinhood design. You know, she's got the braids in her hair. The foliage looks incredible. I mean, look at just all those leaves. Very fancy looking. Almost reminds me of Germania. There's a lot going on in here. Not quite as good as Germania, granted, but pretty good. Again, if I get in close, you can see it's got that dotted background that I feel like is unique to these coins. Again, I don't see that anywhere else. She's got a quiver, so this is a modern woman. She's ready to fight. Or perhaps she's just there to reload Robinhood because she doesn't have a bow. So maybe we'll go with that. She looks like she's got a little fighting stave there, though. You know, she's got to protect herself. Robin's out there, you know, stealing from the tax man. And so, you know, I really like this coin. 2023 is when they released this one. I had the other Made Marion out. I think it was a 2021. I'm not sure. Like I said, they delayed the dates on these big coins. And this is fantastic. This is, you know, if this is what you're into, I know this is not for everyone, but I really love the Robinhood story for a number of reasons. And so I really, really appreciate these 10 ouncers. They're not cheap, but they're not a total ripoff either. They're reasonably priced when they come out. And this one actually does have King Charles on the back, which is cool. It's refreshing. I know a lot of people aren't a fan of him for various reasons, and I understand that it's the Queen was loved by many, but it is nice after many years to see a refreshing new face on there. I think they did an okay job. I mean, put an old man on a coin, what do you expect? And the bedazzling looks pretty good, you know, on a 10 ounce. I've said this before, same as with the other coin. I don't like it on the 1 ounce coins. It's too busy, but on a big coin like this, it actually does look good. And just to give you an idea, like these are just absolutely super thick coins. Really well done. Really well done. I could recommend these to anyone. I don't do a rating out of 10 or anything. Just like to show it off and say, you know, if you're into this, I don't think you can go wrong. You know, if you're back collecting these, I don't know that these will go up in value, but, and I have no idea what the mintage limit is on them, but they are really cool. So you got that. I have no intention of ever selling this, unless it's worth $1 million. Then maybe I would, or some crazy number. But with that, I'm going to stick it back in the capsule. That is my review for today, we're finally going to get rid of this 25 gram gold. It's been sitting out way too long. We're going to tuck Maid Marian back here. And I just want to say, everyone, I am very thankful for the large number of viewers I've been getting. You guys have been great supporting the channel with comments. If you want to do that, but you have nothing to say, today's word will be made, as in Maid Marian. Thank you so much for watching my channel. Appreciate all the likes that I've been getting. That's my 2 ounces worth. This has been the Anecdotal Economist. Remember, I'm pulling for you, and we're all in this together.
Kilogram, you're the dragon, you're the rabbit.
Okay, let's look at the money side now. Watch as I pull this bad boy out of here. Absolutely stunning once you get it out of the case. Feeling the weight of this in my hand. Oh, that's such a good feeling.
I never had enough gold.